Hey, we're starting our very first block number 1. Let's have a look at the fabric requirements and we'll get started. Okay, A fabric, B fabric, background fabric. Here's what you need to cut. All right, so this was my test block, which you don't have to do a test block. I just wanted to test it out before I actually made it with you. This block right here, you could really do a fussy cut in. You could do it here too, but much easier there. One of these butterflies could be the very center of that block. So let me pick out my A, and then I want to get something high contrast for those B's. So maybe something like that. All right. So let me get these pressed. Let me grab me a background piece too. I've just cut a little bit from my background. So I've cut maybe a half a yard. You can cut whatever you want. I just don't want to have to be lugging around that huge piece of background. So I'm going to get these all pressed with my pressing spray and my iron, and then we'll start cutting these up together. All right, I'm going to cut A fabric first. And A is that 2-inch square. I don't think I have a 2-inch fussy cut ruler, so let's use some washi tape together. All right, this is my 6.5-inch ruler, and I'm just going to pull me off a piece of tape, and I'm going to put it right on the 2-inch line on this side of my ruler. Get another piece, and I'm going to put it on the 2-inch line on this side. So here's the 1-inch side, 1-inch square side, and then 2 inches, and then 2 inches. So just like that. I'm not putting it directly on the line. I'm just putting it close to the line. This washi tape is just a visual to give my eyes a place to look very quickly instead of having to double check that I'm in the right place of the ruler. When you put the washi tape there, you know you're in the right place. All right, I'm just going to pick out one of these butterflies, and I think I like this one. When you fussy cut on your fabric, you make what they call Swiss cheese out of it. It's very wasteful, but it's also very cute. So, use it at your own discretion. Don't use it at all. You saw my test block. I didn't use it at all. So it's totally up to you, but it does make a quilt extra special because you've put in all these tiny personal touches. All right, so I'm going to take my ruler and I like this one. I'm trying to stay on the edges so that I don't mess up the bigger parts of this fabric. All right, and the middle, you want to find the middle of your, whatever you've got in here, this washi tape. In our case, for this one is 2 inches. So we know that right there at that 1-inch line, that is our very center. And I'm going to try to just center that with my butterfly here. Actually, you think I'm going to just cut me a little piece off like this just to make it easier to maneuver. You don't have to do that. I'm just going to do it just to make it easier to turn and stuff. All right. 1-inch line, or 1 inch, the very center of this right here, I'm going to put in the very center of that butterfly. I'm not going to be able to get it, just 100% exact. I just want to do the best I can do. And then I'm going to cut here, and I'm going to cut here. I'm going to rotate around like this, pick my ruler up, and then now I'm going to put this edge, because this is my perfectly cut edge. I'm going to put that on those 2-inch lines of the ruler. Get it lined up. Right? And then cut. Cut. All right, and then there is my A square. Okay. All right, now let me just show you real quick about all this mess that I have going on. So we're going to be using these fat quarters, my whole stack of fat quarters over and over and over again, cutting from each one of them just the way you saw me cut that A fabric. You're going to end up with pieces like this. Probably not going to be able to use any of this, so I'm going to throw these away. But this one's a pretty good piece, so I'm not going to throw that away. I'm going to save that and just put it over here in my stack with all my fat quarters for this quilt. All right, now we're going to cut our B fabric. And I'm going to cut this in more of the traditional style of cutting. I got a lot of mess right here. Okay. I'm just going to fold this over. Now let me tell you something about folding really quickly. I do not like using wherever I've folded, so I won't be using it. It just makes for wonky cutting if you do. I know some people handle it fine, but I just don't myself. So just, you know yourself. I'm going to cut out my B fabric. All right, this is going to go back into my stack of fat quarters. Finish getting this cut. All right, so this can also go back into my fat quarters to be used for something else later on. And then these are going to go just like this. All right, so all I need left is my background. And like I said, I have this half yard. I'm just going to cut me off a little piece. I don't want to be maneuvering big pieces, and this is all going to get all chopped up. All right, this is a small piece, but I could definitely use that later. My point is that I'm saving all of these pieces. I'm not just throwing them in my scrap bin. I'm definitely not throwing them away. All of these are things that we can pull from later instead of cutting from our our 8 yards of fabric every single time. We can reuse this stuff. That's why it was very hard to determine how much background fabric you needed, because if you're using these, your background's going to go a lot further than whether you're making a fresh cut from that 8 yards of fabric or whatever it ends up being later on when the book is published. So save these. All right, I'm not going to cut fabric with you on every single block because I'm sure you have it, but if something comes up, I definitely want to, and I definitely wanted to do it for this first block. What we're going to do now is we're going to go sew each of these rows together. So let's go to the sewing machine. All right, so we're going to do these chain piece style, and I'm grabbing these first two. We're just chain piecing because it just makes things faster and more efficient, and we can get done with our blocks quicker and make the next quilt, right? So we're just going to sew these with our regular 1/4 inch seam allowance. So just like that. Then I'm going to grab the next two pieces. And then the third row, first two pieces. And this block is just kind of a baby step into this quilt. It's such a simple block. All right, I'm cutting my thread, lifting my presser foot, and then I'm going to cut the first one off. It goes right here. Second one off goes right here, and then this one goes right there. All right, so we'll start back with this first row. Grab the third piece. Second row, grab that third piece. And last row. All right, cut my thread, and then same thing, cut the threads that connect them all, and we're putting these right back in place so we don't have to think about it later, right? Going to the pressing mat. Okay, so we are pressing away from our B fabric, right? So we're going to do each of these rows individually. We're going to smooth with our hand first, and this is going to get more and more important the smaller these pieces get. Smooth with your hand first, and then press. Gentle reminder not to iron, you're pressing, right? And then we're going to do this side, or this seam, I mean. And then these are going to go toward the center. Remember, away from the B fabric. Smooth and press. Smooth and press, smooth and press. All right, so now we're going to flip row 2 right on top of that third row, right? And you're going to nest these seams up. And basically that just means that you're going to put these stitch lines together, and that this seam is going this way, this seam is going that way, so they just kind of nest together. If you use your finger and your thumb, you can really just feel them slip into place. If they're not in place, you know, you just keep moving your fingers like this until they get like maybe a little bit more than I did. All right, when you have it, you can feel it, okay? Grab you a pin, slip your pin right into that stitch line, pin it together. And you do that right here too. Now this piece is so small, I could do this without pinning. And I may show you that as we go along, because it's just so easy to hold them in place and then send it through the sewing machine. And I want to teach you all the ways in this class. So, but just to get us started, I'm going to show you this pinning. It never hurts to pin. It's always worth it. But when you're doing these tiny pieces, sometimes it just feels a little counterproductive, but I'll show you the other way on another block soon. Let's go back to our sewing machine, and I'm going to go ahead and show you this time of this, but we're sewing this row together. I just want you to see me move those pins out. All right, here we are. Looks just like this. We're sewing with our 1/4 inch seam allowance, and just in case you missed that video about seam allowances in the previous lesson, we're sewing to the inside of that 1/4 inch line, not on top of it. So when I get this close, I just start easing it out, not all the way, because what I really want to happen, and I'm definitely not trying to run over my pins and break my sewing machine, I want the pin to come out before the needle actually gets there. That way it doesn't move, and I can, most of the time, get a really, really good line up on those seams. So I'm trying to do that. I'm also watching the edge of my fabric, making sure that I have it on the inside of the 1/4 inch line. And then for this quilt, because there's so many little pieces, err on the side of caution. And if your pieces aren't coming out the right size, your units, your blocks, they're not coming out the right size, go a little further to the left of the 1/4 inch line. All right. Instead of getting this up and making it multiple trips to the iron, I'm just going to show you here. We end up pressing this open. I'm just going to finger press it for now. And I'm going to do the same thing, but now I'm going to show you how to do this without pinning. Again, I never do this on huge quilts, but teeny tiny blocks, sometimes you can get by with this and it's okay. So I'm again going to nest those seams. Right? Stitch lines are going on top of each other. I can feel it with both of my fingers. See? Looks just like that. I'm going to hold this one. I'm not worrying about this one yet. Holding this one. Don't let it go. Hold it. Get this edge meeting up. Start sewing. All right, holding, holding, holding. Holding until the needle gets to that seam allowance. Then you can let it go. And now your focus shifts to this seam allowance. I put it in the right place. All right, same thing. You can feel it. You can feel it in the right place. You can feel it off. All right, hold it. All right, let it go. Line this side up. Obviously, you can approach this any way you want to or any way that works best for you. I think it's really important to find ways that work best for you, even if they're not what the majority of quilters are already using. But you can see that both of that, pinning and this, and not pinning, works well for me. All right, so let's go back to our pressing mat. Okay, here we are. Before I start pressing these seams, I'm just going to set them. And all that means, right, is taking this seam and it's set. And honestly, this makes such a difference. Sometimes it's hard to see it if you're not like constantly checking things like this. But what that does is it corrects any tension that my sewing machine and its needle caused. Sometimes you can see little bitty waves right here because of that. And setting it before I press the seam in any direction just kind of makes that go away. It also warms the seam up and it's more pliable when it's warm, I think. All right, doing the same thing to this one. All right, turning this over and we're pressing these cross seams open just to reduce bulk, make our block as flat as possible. The flatter the fabric is, the easier it is to get accuracy in your work. All right, turn it over. All right, and I'm getting my pressing spray. We've talked about this a lot. Again, it's just best press in a spritzing bottle. There's links below this video if you're looking for these products. Give it a little spritz. It doesn't have to be a lot. You're not soaking the fabric. You're just giving it a spritz. And then I'm going to press it again, just like that. And I have my first block for this quilt. I am super excited. Super excited about my little butterfly. This is what I'm talking about. This is extra work. It's definitely not necessary, but it is fun. And every time I look at that butterfly, I'm going to just smile. So do what you want. You saw my other block. Very basic on that one. And, you know, they're almost solids. Those are blender fabrics. That's my tiny terrazzo fabrics. And yeah, I like both versions. But, you know, the solid white background or whatever solid you're using will give your quilt that pop crispness. And then this one is going to give me a little bit of scrappy look because I'm just using random low volumes as my background. So there's my first two versions of this quilt started. All right, so let me know if you have any questions. There's a discussion tab to the right upper corner of this video. You can click that. We can talk there. If you say anything to me directly, I will definitely chime in. But you're also welcome to chat with other quilters participating in Dilly Dally. All right, I will see you for block 2.